the last 4 days, we've written 29 citations, 29 warnings, kind of neat that it just worked out that way. And we've had 7 different types of, 7 different accidents. Some were slide-offs, some were accidents, none of them were PIs, and none of them had personal injury. That normally the truck, went off the ditch and had damage, or like the bus from the elderly home went off the ditch. So, we're working remote with everybody, and just keep, the guys are working overtime, and just to let you know it's still a big problem. So, we're working on that and continue to work on that. But in case you get phone calls, we'll have one phone call that calls and complains that we did stop someone, and then we'll get another phone call saying that we're not after it at all. So if you hear anything, it's all rages, but our guys are out there, literally 24 hours a day, and we have some overtime shifts, the guys are working as well, because our other guys have to go up north. So, budgetary. First off, I'm going to tell you all that you all have been great to work with. The partnership I have with commissioners and councils and valuable, and you've been great with us on with vehicles especially, how you've made it a priority to keep the turnover of the vehicles, and that has a big difference. So being able to give you guys, the only lady that you give your staff cars that are in good condition that are breaking down. We still have breakdowns, but we definitely have less than we did before. When you're a police officer, you have to move out of the car into another car. It's, you're moving a lot of equipment to make sure you still have all your tools. So our office, when I say office, I'm talking about deputies, jail staff, and dispatchers. I mean, we are kind of the heartbeat of all the criminal justice here in Spencer County. We are the only 24-hour service police agency. Dale, Rockport, Santa Claus, and State Police, none of them offer 24-hour service. So if it happens at 2 o'clock on a Sunday night, and normally if things happen after midnight, it's never good. You see some of my kids say, well, after midnight, there's nothing good going on. So, a lot of times those late night calls, all we have is the staff we have. So just to make you aware, a lot of people think that there's more police protection out there than there's us. I have a packet going to hand out to you in just a minute. It has our schedule, in case you've never seen what our schedule looks like, just for reference. Generally, we have a fully staffed, we have 4 people on, that's counting our 1 sergeant and that. Right now, we're a little low, we have 1 on military, we have 1 that we train, and after the training, in 2 weeks at FTO, he just decided police work is for him, even though that was his college track and his degrees in law enforcement and homeland security. So things like that happen. But we did pick up a trained officer that had 6 years of experience, and she is on the night shift and doing a great job. I think she's going to be a good hire for us, and she loves working for us. So it's good. I've looked into staff issues, and I know we talked about this, about salaries and development of our employees and our base. And the one thing I have looked at is on younger generation, I think that when we're a little bit older and wiser, say in the 30s, we realize that maybe all much difference isn't that big a deal if we like the work environment, we like the people we work with. But my 22 to 29-year-olds, when they're talking to their buddy at training and they're paying more, it's a little bit more inviting. We did lose 1 deputy to Ward County, and he was great. We really liked him. He came from us. He started in jail with Stella, went on to be a deputy, been a deputy about 3.5 years. And I pointed out in some of my papers, I'll give you the time when officers are most hireable and being able to be snatched away is about 3.5 years to around 7 or 8. And the reason that is once they get about 8, 9, or 10, they're pretty invested. They're pretty solid. They make the day shift. They don't want to go to night shift. So, you really need to keep those younger officers checked. I looked at the poll. I thought this is true from my own experience. That paying benefits is one of the strongest factors. Advancement and career development. So we send a lot of people to training. We want them to do other things. All you do is sit in that car for 12 hours a day and write tickets and stop semis and work crashes. Sometimes I have something a little extra. So if you are a DRE, meaning that you can recognize someone who's used drugs and when they're operating a vehicle, it's extra training, but it gives you some more tools in your toolbox. And as officers, they're always looking for extra tools, extra things to do. And so we've been able to expand in that because of all your support. Management recognition. We have a recognition program every year. We recognize the top 3 in our categories. So I'm doing my part to let them know that we appreciate what you're doing. The Gallup poll, 69% identified pain benefits as 2 reasons why people will leave the job early on. and generally that's the area version. So I hand out for approval. I try to scale down from the books I've done in the past, so you don't have as much. As first sheet will be familiar to you. I contact these SATs every year, get the numbers of what the local AATs are paying. So that just tells you that these numbers are currently for 26. So we're always chasing everybody else on this, and it's just the negative fees. So you'll see on there that currently we are below Warwick, Perry, Du Bois, Jasper City, Huntingburg, and Newburgh City. You all have made great strides in the years that you've been increasing our pay, and that's very helpful. And I know it's a slow steady, and we're very conservative for accounting. I appreciate that, but the consistent pay raises that you have been giving us is greatly appreciated. My point to show it is that even though you've been giving us pay raises every year, we're still kind of chasing behind. The next sheet, I had a phone call from Warwick County Sheriff Mike Waller yesterday on a different issue, and he was happy to let me know that Warwick County gave them over a 2-year period. Obviously, they did things different. They gave them a 10% raise for 2027, and then they'll get an additional 10% raise for 2028. So like I said, we lost a deputy to them. We currently have another deputy that's going to be put into the process in the fall. I know we don't have the tax base that Warwick County has, but they are so close to it, they do impact us. So we do, even though we try to compare our county to other counties the same size, we do have to be mindful that this is another agency that's right next door that won't make the guys move, but it could take it from our meeting. You know, the next page we'll have is the pay raise I'm asking for. I'm not asking for parity for the counties around us. I'm asking for the steady increase. On the next sheet is the salary request for deputies and command staff. As you look down through there, all of the pay raises I did in my budget were $1 an hour, and I just used off what we had done in the past years. So I try to be mindful to, you know, if that was where council was going to go, I hate to give you figures that are part of the road that I know are workable. I like to try to make agreement or consensus with you all. One thing I would like to add that doesn't have a physical impact this year and probably won't the next 2 years is you looking at the box, it has master deputy. So right now we have probationary deputy for the first year they're not training. We have deputy and senior deputies and they have 5 years experience. A master deputy, they have 10 years experience. It is in line, basically does the same thing as senior master. But it would be nice for a guy, even though we don't have a matrix, they know that when they get 10 years, there would be, all I have here is $1 over the senior deputy on the raise, but there would be $1 pay raise above where they come from. And if that's something we can do, we don't have anybody that's in that category right now, but we will in about 2 years. But it would be nice if they knew that when they get 10 years or more on, that they would have an extra $1. We have sergeants in there, lieutenants, chief deputy, and basically what I did is I went through and gave everybody about $1 over each one, just so that you're not on the job. Our spread one would have been like 19 cents. So just try to, if you're a supervisor, you get calls at midnight on your day off, you come out to help our people, you know, there's a little bit more for it. And for all of us that have been supervisors, it's not fun being a supervisor, you know, especially when you're supervising your friends. It's hard, you lose friendships, you know, even in a small agency like ours. You know, you may not like, you know, the supervisor telling you what to do, even though you know the friends for many years before that. The next sheet we have is the budget request for dispatchers. Similar on that, the increase for the training and the dispatch is the same. There's only a spread between dispatcher and senior dispatcher at 9 cents. That doesn't help us on keeping people. So I want to make that to be I have $1.50, so it basically makes a 59-cent raise above the $23 for this year, what we're looking at. And the same thing with supervisors. You know, if you're your supervisor, you're where it stops. If there's not coverage, you're coming out. If you're not coverage for the dispatch, you're coming in. They don't get a lot of breaks. And the same issues with supervisors. The next line is, or the next page is jail staff compensation. You'll see I kind of did the same thing. I try to keep everybody on equal footing. You know, so the same thing on the base. On jail staff, one thing I want to point out is we added a jail sergeant last year. And the jail sergeant was added that nobody was given to it. It wasn't something we put in the budget that we needed a supervisor. And we really need to. And so I have put that in there to put an increase. So it has the kind of the same thing, that dollar more than a senior jailer is what the jail sergeant get. And then of course we get assistant jail manager and then the jail manager was Stella. Supervision in our line of work is vital. Having a supervisor that's there on the floor when things are going on. Having a supervisor that's there working, you know, because seniority, our more mature workers are on day shift. We need somebody that's on that second or third shift to be there to answer questions and make sure that the young ones with less experience have that proper guidance. It reduces our liability, it makes us more professional in the long run. So I am asking for those, regardless of the budget increase, if I have someone that's willing to take on that responsibility, we probably will have a second sergeant. But I would much rather have the support of the council that they are paid just $1 or $1 than a senior jailer would be on that position. The next sheet I gave you all, this is a breakdown of who all works for the deputies. On the side here, they're telling you total law enforcement experience, how many years they had, maybe they were a law enforcement officer somewhere else, like myself before I came here, and then how many years they had with the sheriff's office. I do this so that sometimes you all don't see where we're at. You know, we're building this agency. You know, when I came in, we had very little seniority with a lot of young people. So we're slowly building up these officers for the 7 years and the 5 years and the 7.5 years. That makes us more professional. With any job, you'll find out that it takes about 5 years for a police officer to really figure out what's going on. I mean, you can't train everything because our job is always that going on that no one's ever experienced. So, but I put that in there just for your reference, so you kind of know where our people are at. And then in the next page, it looks like this is our schedule. So back to that, I'm just trying to make you aware of what their lives is like. The 12-hour shifts are great. The deputies are on the ones on the 12-hour shift. Just back currently working a couple months because of coverage. We had to do that. But they get a lot of time off. It's back to that life balance, which is how keep employees. So they have a lot of days off, and they're working 12 hours when they work, and they have to hold them over, they're working 14 or 16. But they do have time off. So just wanted to see what our schedule is.
What's the page stand for?
Holiday.
TG training.
TG training. Vacation, yep. And if there's a C on it, there's a C on that one. Well, that's actually September, so it would be comma. So, to go on into kind of the next category, before I move on, does anyone have any questions about salaries or our requests for the sworn, the jail, or for dispatch? Mickey couldn't come over. She's my acting director. She couldn't come over because she has the other 2 trainees, and she couldn't make the radio response also.
12-hour shifts for everyone, other than their day, other than yourself, Mr. Harper, and Mr. Parsley.
Correct, yeah, on the sworn. And then our SRO, he doesn't have a car in summer, he in the summer, when he's not in school, he goes to car, so why he's paying down. And then, Ty Trey is the detective, his car number is 14, and he's also on the 8 hours.
All right, any other questions, Mr. Sheriff?
Right. The next sheet is the maintenance contract items. That is a big category that it's hard to see what's in it. This is a breakdown of everything that's always been in years past. Where we're spending the money at, the increase that we put on there, the contract, like Axon, we're in year 2 of the contract, Cameron, we're in year 3 of a 5-year contract, like that on there. The sheriff's out, I'm going to, I think I have one more year of sheriff's contract, I think it was a 5-year contract until it's like. So that is the breakdown of what's in that, the jail maintenance contract. The only thing I added in on the bottom is drone for barricade use. We have an indoor drone and an outdoor drone, we use those a lot. And the theory is you put either equipment, a canine, anything for your police officer to barricade. So we have the ability to shoot out a window, fly a drone in, and use it on a barricade, when we see him, see where his weapons were, and we know how close we can be to the house or not be. So this is in addition. With that being said, and I've shared this, I know at least one of you all, if choice we have to make is extra equipment or pay, I would always want you to prefer pay. I'll, you know, it doesn't be different if it's best, that's what I'm saying. If it's drone or the pay, I'd rather go with the pay drone. And then same thing we get to like any questions on these maintenance contract items?
Ms. Ekman, that's for, of course, the contract for you to have them on call, correct? And the
Well,
cost,
the one we pay out there when they do come and,
So that's
services are part, yes.
that actually includes the service when they come.
I think we have an on-call contract that we have to pay. I think we call them, they
That's part of the other one. I think it falls under the.
They come. This is service.
It's part of our 60,500.
Okay.
So 4,800 would, when we looked at where our expenses were in 2026, and I might be the same or maybe slightly higher if they think something's going to go up. Well, generally, we keep them close to what they were doing before.
We need every part to bring a little bit. Every part.
We'll talk about next year. Okay.
Any questions on any of these items? I will tell you each one is a lot more explained. Liberland is the program for the,
Handle the tax warrants, the cash bonds that they, and all that, so that's what the program handles all that.
you know, you go down to the extermination is obvious. Securitas, we don't have a maintenance contract right now, we're doing kind of out of our, we need them, we call them. We don't appreciate what they charge us, but unfortunately, we have realized, and Dave pointed this out, we pay less paying them at will than we pay by paying them that maintenance contract, because their maintenance contract is quite salty.
Yeah.
So we are saving money by just, we call, they come, they give us a bill, and we have to pay it.
And that was that new system 3 or 4 years ago.
Yes.
Yeah.
The sheriff when that was installed. And then live scan, it's a fingerprint machine, that's, you know, we have that in the jail. Then sprinklers, treasure state stuff, there's 240 on the treasure
That's
state.
where we pay for the deputies to get their, intoxicant certification, to be able to do the intoxicant that's in the jail.
All right.
I think it's $40 per deputy every 2 years run, is that correct? 2 years.
The next page I have here is our pension. The pension payment has gone up substantially, but the reason it's gone up substantially is because we have more officers. So as we add the deputies, it's gone up. We are 100% funded. You know, of course, the company's very happy with the fact that the council always pays the full amount on that, but I did include that in here in case you all had any questions and show how that, and that just goes up by how many officers we have.
57,000.
What?
That's enough.
Yeah.
There used to be a whole lot less.
We used to have a whole lot less officers, that kind of makes a difference, but, I mean, we've done nothing in the pension to increase this, just so you know, there's nothing that I've done, this just operates on that same pension agreement that was signed however many years ago. So this isn't anything that I've done to increase that. We've not added benefits, we've not done anything like that, just to give you that assurance. Next page is a letter of support that goes along with the body worn camera. I sent this out to an email, I also attached it in here. The prosecutor, like she has in her letter, she'd like for us to have body worn camera. The public would like for us to have body worn camera. I won't speak for the officers that are here, they would like to have body worn camera. The body worn camera itself, just for the camera that you wear on, is much more affordable than the in-car. The car cameras, one's facing the prisoner transport, one is facing front. So like I said, we have two different options. You could just do, if you chose, you could just do the camera for just the body. The total, that next contract, that $410,000, that is the body and the vehicles. Axon, of course, runs our business. They said that they would be willing to, if we wanted to do the whole contract, but only be body worn the first year, so that you kind of defray, maybe not have as many years for everything. At the end of this contract, one thing Axon does do is they do give us free current equipment. So whatever the latest equipment is when your contract ends, you get the latest equipment that they have out. So that would
We
be.
don't have cameras in our car now? I thought we did.
No, we've never had department issued cameras in the, well, I think back in the day, like when they were VHS tapes, but we haven't had cameras in our cars since they weren't, you know. I had a camera in my car as a young fruit, it was a VHS tape, I had to pop out and put it in evidence. So, yeah, they don't, now everything, thank God, is in the cloud.
Okay.
But just for your consideration, the next paper I have in here is the approximate cost of the drone. The price is a little lower than I put on there, if that's to be considered. I will tell you that I applied for a grant for 2026 for body worn camera. The government sat down, they didn't give us a grant. They didn't give anybody a grant. I have had Stephanie, partnered with Stephanie, reapply for the grant for 2027, and it's in the works. We could get grant money to take care of the body worn camera, depending on that. There's also the other federal grant I mentioned to you all on Tuesday that has allowable to for body worn camera. So if you want to treat the body worn camera initiative similar to what we did with the vest, to see if we can get these grants come through for us instead of having to outlay the money, that may be a consideration for you all. Same thing on the drone, the federal grant I mentioned to you has allowable expenses for drones. The next page, I can talk faster barely. The next page is vehicle inventory. I know you all like to see our vehicles and how many miles they have on them. So you see where we're at. The plan that you all are doing on the 4 vehicles or the 5 vehicles every so often is working great. You know, the vehicles are in good shape. We're going to start being able to get more money for them when we do sell them because we're not selling them at 2 or 30,000 miles with nothing left in them. So I do think we'll see some, money coming back to us when we start selling some of these vehicles that are more new than when I first came in. And the very last sheet, see, I don't have to get your handout. Sylvia told me that possibly the community corrections field officer position may come under the sheriff's office because the grant plans fall through. This is the amount that she told me. My only ask on that is we obviously don't have a problem with managing that in the budget. We'd probably ask for it to be a kind of like a civilian position. It wouldn't be under our merit lines. We'd ask for it to be a different line item. But this amount is, I believe she incorporated a $1 an hour pay rate on her $24 an hour. But that was just information she sent me. So I know I almost went over. Is there any questions? Anything I can answer?
All right, guys, any questions for the sheriff? Any questions for any of you all that came with the sheriff for us?
I just have a comment.
Yes.
Most certainly.
So, budget hearings, we appreciate everything you guys do for us, what you're gonna do. I know that it's gonna be what you can do. Budget hearings is always about people asking you for money, but let me tell you where we've saved some money, if I may. So our fingerprint machine this year, our NGL booking system, all of that is now through a grant, so we are not paying for services on those two things anymore. Sheriff signed the contract, and so it's all covered, you know, through the state. So, that's a little bit of money. Those of you that have toured the jail, you know that we do a lot of stuff hands-on, so we did all of the painting, all of the drain cleanings, this man right here, part of saving the money on the camera. When we get back, he's actually gonna hike up on a ladder, because something's wrong with the camera, but the thing is when they're coming to the jail, we're asking them, what are you doing? How are you doing this? So the next time we don't have to call them. We can get up there and we can handle it. So when we get back, he's gonna hike on the ladder, I'm gonna supervise, and, so that's how we're gonna do it. But we do appreciate you guys, and I did want you to know there are a few things that we tried to also, you know, do to give back.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, and I don't know if it was this past year, 25, but did you guys find a big savings with our fiber provider?
Yeah, and that was probably the
That
that
was
you're talking about,
huge.
yeah, absolutely. You know,
Yeah.
Amanda did great work and everything she did on finding that, so we were able to claw back that money, I think that's what you were talking about
Yeah.
on the bills and stuff, so. I did know with the grants, we're always looking at those, and I think the software for the jail program was running 15 or 19,000?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was 15 or 19,000 a year.
Christian was Amanda, she would know. But-
Well, it was,
Which was the old jail program.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah.
gone now, and I forget how much it was yearly, right off the top of my head.
Yeah, it was somewhere around 19,000 just for the jail portion.
Yeah, and we've been able to get rid of that whole this grant the state offered. So we're always trying to find, I mean, we can't make money unfortunately, but we're always trying to find money that we can get grant wise to save.
All right, well, we do appreciate what y'all do, and, we know it's a tough job, and, we'll do the best we can here, you know, money's always tight, it seems to be getting tighter, but we're gonna get through this week, and we'll get it figured out by tomorrow.
Absolutely.
So thank you for coming in, thanks for everything you all do.
Good job.
Yeah, we hope to have this done about 1:30 tomorrow, so if you want to come back over at 1:30, we should be able to give you your budget tomorrow. That's our goal.
All right, sounds great. Thank you.
All right, thank you guys. All right.